Hey, good morning. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Welcome to another episode of Whitney Walks the Dogs and Has Something to Say. So something that we have dealt with a lot at Redeemed Strength with women, but we've really been talking a lot with some of our clients in the last week or so. So it's been at the forefront of my mind is back pain, the origin of that back pain, and the best thing that we can do to remedy that back pain. So I know that I had put out a video before that talked a lot about machines and why it's very important to train with free weights, being dumbbells, barbells, or other modalities that we would use in the gym to train those stabilizer muscles. So the reason that we harp on that so greatly is because the main reason for back pain is a weakness of those stability muscles. So primarily the multifidus. So the multifidus is one of our deepest spinal stabilizer muscles that actually goes all the way from our sacrum all the way to the back of our neck, and it actually attaches to each individual vertebra, and its purpose is to stabilize that spine. So I read an article recently that really gave a really great illustration of the importance of a stabilized spine. And basically the illustration they used was you go to the lake and you go to the dock and you jump off the dock into the water. That dock is good and stable. You have a good footing. You have a good surface to propel yourself off of. And you're able to jump into the lake, jump exactly where you want to go, as high, as far as you want to go within your limits, and it's a good experience all the way around. The second option would be you are in a canoe and you want to jump out of that canoe. That canoe is going to be rocking back and forth. It's going to be unstable, and when you jump, you may or may not get a good enough footing to get a good jump. You may be redirected in another direction that you didn't plan to go. So basically, stable versus unstable. Our back is our core. It holds everything together, and it is responsible for every piece of whole body movement that we do. Flexion, extension, rotation. It has to hold everything together. It is the base of where everything comes from. So if we do not have a good spine, then every single day, every movement we make, we're jumping out of a canoe instead of jumping out of a dock. So why, when people have back pain, why do they have back pain and then they're scared to train? They're scared to train because they think they're going to injure it worse. But the best thing they can do is to train. Now, I'm not talking about going out there and deadlifting 500 pounds with an injured back. I'm talking about starting at the basics with hollow man, bird dog, planks, dead bugs, supermans, progressing up to lightweight RDLs, lightweight deadlifts, all kinds of things like that. Unilateral carries. All these things that train that so important multifidus. And that multifidus will hold your spine together. So everybody has seen a picture of a version of a spine in some form or fashion, in a picture or whatever. So we have a good understanding, most of us, that the spine is basically bone that has little intervertebral discs in the middle that act as cushion. So we have a small round bone, and then we have a disc, small round bone and a disc, and so on, all the way from the base of our neck, the base of our skull, all the way down to our sacrum. And that spine, like I said, holds everything together. And it is responsible to stabilize all of the external movement that we do with our hands, legs, rotation through our trunk, flexion, extension, just every movement. And that is a lot. So we want to make sure that that multifidus, which is attached to every single vertebra to hold it together, to keep it nice and strong and stabilized, we want to make sure that that is the primary thing that we target when we start training. Because if we don't have a good base, we are setting ourselves up for injury. And that's why I talk so highly on doing stabilization exercises and working with a trainer that can teach you how to do those things and is very focused on making sure that we get those stabilizers in good shape, your form in good shape, your body movement, body awareness, that all those things are priority, because those are the building block, the foundation of your entire structure for training. Here is a woman carrying in all the groceries, and it's like, we train because we want to carry all the groceries in with one trip rather than 2 or 3. Well, what do we do with those groceries before we take them inside? We bag them. We put them in bags. We secure them so they are locked in together, and then we pick up the bags. We would never go down to the grocery store and buy $200-300 worth of groceries, a cart full of groceries, and try to pick up each individual piece individually and carry all of those groceries in without first securing them. And that's exactly what we don't want to do to our back. We do not want to try to pull, twist, lift without first securing our back. And that is done through balance and stability training that is specifically targeting the erector spinae, the multifidus, the iliopsoas in our back, to make sure that we are stabilizing that foundation and we are building on that cornerstone. I know what it's like to have a hurt back. I had an MRI probably, it's been 10 to 12 years ago, and I did that because I was constantly having low back pain, and I was really getting into training and lifting, and that's when I was starting to get into like Olympic lifting, barbell type stuff. And I really just wanted to make sure that I had that MRI done so that I had a really good understanding of where that low back pain was coming from, and to make sure that anything that I did was not going to further damage my back. So I did that because when I was younger, in my 20s, early 30s, my husband and I were involved with investment properties, and we were just trying to get our foothold in life. Didn't have the money to pay for services to be done. So guess who did the roofing, the tiling, the flooring, the cabinets, the landscaping, all that heavy lifting, all that stuff. I have been on a roof by myself putting shingles on, and that's difficult. A bundle of shingles is not light. I was abusing my body, picking that stuff up, rotating, moving it, and because of that, I have 3 herniated discs at all times. And if I do not train and I don't keep my back nice and strong, then I can't sleep on my back because it will wake me up in excruciating pain. Rotating over in my sleep will also wake me up because of excruciating pain. And I have a super high pain tolerance. Like, I had my last baby at home, completely natural. I have a very high pain tolerance. So for it to wake me up, it's really bad. I do have a back injury that originates from everyday activity. It happens about once a year. It's typically a tear in my iliopsoas, and I know that because it's always when I am bending over, reaching over, or I'm rotating. This year I did it while I was at my job, and I picked something up and I twisted, and I did it quickly, and I felt it tear when it did it. It's the worst injury I've had so far. So I have had injury, felt the pain, and trained my way through it. It took me about 3 months to recover from that 100%. I had to rewrite all my programming. So I understand what that is like. I also understand that if I don't train that if I don't keep myself in good shape and keep myself strong, that I will be miserable. In the past week, I've talked to multiple women who have shown me their x-rays, shown me their reports of their x-rays. I am an RN, so of course people know that, while I'm not a doctor, I'm not a radiologist, I am familiar with those things, and I can look at them and decipher a lot of the information and kind of know what's going on. And so a lot of my members bring that stuff to me. I'm very grateful for that, because it really helps me to know exactly what's going on with them and to really educate them, because the healthcare industry is so lacking in education. That's all I'm going to say, because I talk about that for hours. But anyways, I love to educate women on, yes, this report says you have degenerative changes. Yes, this report says that you have maybe spinal cord compression, and that's where your pain is coming from. Let me tell you what that means. Let me show you. I have a great picture in the office that shows the spine and really illustrates the multifidus, the erector spinae, the piriformis, like the iliopsoas, all the very common muscles that we have issues with. So I like to break that out and say, this is exactly where your problem is. This is exactly what we need to do to fix it. So I'm just so grateful that women trust to share that information with me. And then a lot of times what I get is, oh, well, the doctor prescribed for me to have 6 weeks of physical therapy. That's great. I love that. That's phenomenal. But then what? The thought would be that you would take that information and those exercises and you'd continue doing them at home. But we all know that life gets in the way, and a lot of us need a gym with, members and trainers and people that just kind of help keep you motivated. And if you didn't learn in 6 weeks, it'd be really hard to learn everything you need to know in 6 weeks. If you need further assistance, further education, like, you need a trainer. So that's why I love when, they do their physical therapy. 100% recommend that they do their physical therapy. If it's ordered, do it. But then come to us, or do it at the same time with us. I would love to talk to the physical therapist. Hey, what are you doing with them? What's working? What's not working? Coordinate services. But the best thing you can do is train and strengthen. You can throw pain medicine, muscle relaxers, TENS unit, you can throw all this stuff at the problem and try to fix or relieve the pain. But if you do not fix the problem, the pain will continue. The pain will come back. At some point, you won't be able to control it anymore. And the degenerative changes, they will continue. They don't stop because you've thrown a muscle relaxer at them. They will continue. So I really highly encourage, if you have degenerative changes in your back, that happened in the past. That does not dictate what you do in the future. Now, what you do in the future will dictate what happens with those changes, whether they continue or whether you fix them. And you can't 100% fix the degenerative changes. You can't do that, especially if it is to the bone itself in the vertebra, or if it is, come on, pups, or if you've done irreversible damage to the discs. Now, the discs the fluid in them can regenerate to a degree, and the discs can repair themselves to a degree. So you can see some repair there. Bone does remodel itself at a rate of about 5% a week, which is a lot of bone regeneration. So you can get repair there as well. It will not grow more, as in like bigger, but it will improve its density. So if that makes sense, like if you have osteoporosis, and so that vertebra is kind of like a sponge, you will not add to it in size, but you will add to it in its density, so it'll start filling in those spots with good, proper diet, proper supplements if you need them outside of your diet. They are to supplement, not replace a good diet, but supplement a good diet, and with good strength training. So anytime we strength train, we use those muscles to pull on that bone, we stimulate osteoblast activity, which is our bone building cell, and that will start regenerating, rebuilding. We can actually reverse osteopenia and osteoporosis. We can actually reverse that with good strength training. It doesn't happen overnight, might not happen in 12 months, but it will continuously get better. So just keep that in mind. Just because you have been told that you've hurt your back, you've got degenerative changes, it does not mean you're stuck there. It does not mean there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't mean you have to deal with excruciating pain for the rest of your life without intervening. It just means that you've been told that you need to make a change. And that change is good strength training, starting at the base with balance and stability, so that we don't further pull on it and damage it worse with our bigger muscles, such as our traps, our lats, any of our abdominal muscles, or we reach out to grab something and we twist and we pull with obliques and we pull that spine out of line. That's when we get that cord compression, because that cord runs through a hole that is in each vertebra. They line up, and when that spine gets out of line, those holes get out of line, that's when that cord starts getting pressed on. When those discs get turned and pulled the wrong way or pushed the wrong way, and they protrude outside of that vertebral column, that's when we start getting cord compression. That's when you get that pain running down your leg, running through your hips. Please know that we can help you with that. We can make it better. We can help prevent it from getting worse. That is the key. And you don't have to age in pain and weak and frail. You can age strong and with good function. That is our wish for everybody. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope you have a wonderful week. And come see us at Redeemed Strength if you want to know more.